10 U.S. sailors held hostage by Iran. And the stock market's in free fall. The first Republican debate of the new year. And where was Rand Paul? And fairy tale story time with Uncle Barack. So the president had his State of the Union address a couple of days ago. I like to refer to it as, fairy tale story time, because not a bit of it is based on reality. It's all just a bunch of crazy hoo-ha that's made up by him and his lackeys. So he had a lot of large platitudes and things that he said that if you disagree with, you're just peddling fiction and basing your everything off of fear. Well, let's look at the fact of the matter. There are a lot of things that he said in this State of the Union as fact that aren't fact. It's just them cooking the books. He made a lot of references to unemployment, the State of the Union, how it's strong. The State of this Union is not strong. It's broken and falling apart. And if you can't see that, you need to do some eye-opening. Unemployment. Let's take unemployment here. Unemployment at 5%. Now, I can take my own little poll of just people that I know. It's not at 5%. If you really break down the numbers, you're looking something closer to like what Donald Trump has said, that the real unemployment number is closer to 40%. And I tend to agree with him on that. 40% is a much more accurate number. May not be quite as high as 40, but it's pretty close to it. The real number of Americans not working, no longer in the labor force at all, not even looking for a job, is 95 million. Now, if we have 330 to 350 million people in the country, 95 million is a large portion of that, right? Add on top of that, another way that he cooked his book and saying that how he added jobs, I think it was 300,000. Not a huge number, but 300,000, that's a decent number. 300,000 jobs were actually to illegal immigrants, not American people. So that's another way that they're messing up their books. We have 35.4% on welfare out of that 330 to 350 million people. That's a huge number. We've also got 62%. This one's just staggering. 62% of Americans only have $1,000 or less in their savings account. $1,000. 62% paycheck to paycheck. That's sad. We've also got the stock market, which is a huge indicator of how the economy is doing. The stock market has lost $1 trillion in this year alone. It's only January 16th. $1 trillion of its value in 16 days. That's amazing. So not only do we have that, unemployment number is huge. Walmart's also a big indicator of how the economy is doing. Walmart worldwide is closing 269 of its stores, 154 of them here in the States. Now, they've said that majority of those stores are their little grocery stores. They're not the big Walmart supercenters. But still, 154 Walmart stores are closing. That's a big deal, too. Now, another lie that Obama said during his State of the Union was that every single day he attends his intelligence briefing first thing in the morning. Well, things have been leaked, and we've got all the data on this, that's nowhere near true. 38% of the time he actually goes to these briefings and actually is briefed on what's going on in the intelligence community. 38% of the time. Yeah, that's not waking up every day and going to your briefing. Sorry. There's lie number 2. Also, the day after the State of the Union address, one of his chief of staffs came out and said that we need to start getting ready, we the American people and the press, need to start getting ready for, quote, audacious executive action. Audacious executive action. Now, going after my guns, that's a line right there. So what else do they have planned? It's going to be very interesting and scary to see what's next. So keep that in mind. Moving on to the Republican debate. Now, my opinion is these debates are a joke. Whenever they actually get into substantive argument and back and forth, someone says, well, can we please get off the Senate floor debating an issue? No, that's what a debate is for. You're supposed to get into these substantive issues so we, the American people, can actually figure out where they stand. I don't want these little 30-second sound bites that make you look good. I want to know where your flaws are. I want to know where your plans are. I want to know what kind of good plan you have, what kind of bad plan you have. I don't want these, I'm the next best thing for America and we're going to make America great again. I could care less what you think. I want to know what your plan is, and I want to know how you handle heat. If you can't handle heat from somebody coming at you, you shouldn't be on that stage. Now, having said that, I think it is effectively a four-man race. I think you've got Trump on top, you've got Cruz, you've got Rubio, but then I really think the person that wasn't on the stage made the right call, and that's Rand Paul. I really think Rand Paul's still in this. He's got a lot of good numbers coming out. He's of Iowa and New Hampshire. His polling data is actually pretty good. He's got the money to stay in it for a while, and he's got the right message. So that's just my opinion. You can differ with it. That's fine. So Trump, Cruz, Rubio, and Rand. Now, the other ones. You've got little Jebby, who should not be in this race at all. Nobody wants another Bush. Get out. I'm sick of the establishment trying to shove him down our throats. Go away. Go away. Chris Christie, just put him in a bar fight and leave him alone. The guy knows nothing other than, again, those sound bites that, granted, some of them sound good, but he's a pit bull that belongs in a bar fight. This is not what we need. If anything, he's going to be too antagonistic. Now, there's a time for power, but there's a time to actually be presidential. I don't think he has that in him. Sure, he can run the state of New Jersey as governor. That's fine. New Jersey's a different kind of animal. They like that kind of people up there. So I think he just needs to go away as well. John Kasich. Who's John Kasich? Nobody knows who John Kasich is. He's a whiny little guy from Ohio. I don't like him. Again, you can differ. That's fine. I don't care. He needs to go away. He's got no plan. And he constantly is trying to butt into everybody, getting this time, just because they're not giving him any, because his poll numbers aren't good. So, and he's got no answer to anything. So he needs to go away as well. And then the old man taking a nap on stage, Ben Carson. Whenever he got a question, it seemed like he was shocked, like he just woke up from a nap. Oh, I'm glad you came to me. Fight for your time. Goofy guy. And all of these guys, substantively, they're not there. Those four guys, Little Jebby, Chris Christie, John Kasich, and Ben Carson. Ben Carson had some good ideas, but as soon as he started talking about intelligence surveillance and gun issues, nobody needs to own an assault rifle. Bye-bye. The second you start going after guns, bye-bye. So those four need to go. Now, the idea of natural-born citizen, this came up during the debate. It's come up here in the past couple of weeks. Trump has been pushing this narrative. And I'll be honest, there's a little validity to it. A natural-born citizen, both U.S. parents, being born on U.S. soil. Now, they make exceptions to military because they're born on military bases, which, in effect, is sovereign U.S. territory. So that's a little different than being born in Calgary, Canada. Calgary, Canada is not a naval base. Furthermore, he was born to one U.S. citizen as a parent, his mother. His father was from Cuba. Now, I've got a problem there. If you're not a natural-born citizen, you are disqualified. And if someone as constitutionally savvy as Ted Cruz can't be honest with himself and the American people of, you're right, I'm not qualified. I shouldn't be here. If he's going to be that dishonest about this issue, what else is he going to be dishonest about? It brings up a trust issue. I don't trust him. Now, moving to Trump. I've never liked Trump. I like what he says. He's a presenter. He's an actor. He knows how to affect people, and he says it great, but I don't believe a word of it. All you have to do is go back roughly 10 years ago. There's an interview that Tim Russert, the late Tim Russert, did on Meet the Depressed, and it's an interview with Trump. And in this interview, it outlines everything of where Trump is wrong. So I'm going to try and find it. I'm going to leave it a link for it if I can find it. But it's basically Trump's all for gay rights, gay marriage, pro-choice for abortion, gun issues, gun confiscation, which, all of which he's now renounced. Well, that's fine. If, somebody matures and they come out with a difference of opinion from what they used to have, that's fine. That's good in some cases. But in this case, I just don't trust him. I just don't trust him. Based on this interview, and you see, given his track record as well with everything else, you just don't trust the guy. Now, Rand Paul skipped the debate. They said, Fox Business said that his numbers were too low to actually make the main stage. He thinks he has a top-tier campaign. I agree, he does. He's got the money, he's got the polling numbers. He is a top-tier candidate. He decided to skip the debate altogether. Now, two things, I think. One, that was the right answer, the right thing to do. Secondly, he spent the time that he would have been at the debate answering questions off of different media website platforms, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. And it turned out to be a much more substantive night for him. He was able to tackle way many more issues than he would have gotten, roughly the 20 minutes airtime if he were at the debate. And actually, they don't give him that much. It's the bigger ones, the bigger ones that get more time. So he probably, 15 minutes, whatever. So he spent all of that time answering really good questions that we, the people, were sending him. And I watched a good bit of it, and I think that was a home run. Now, secondly, he's also been invited to go be on Comedy Central's The Daily Show. And the viewership that The Daily Show gets is, 10, 15 times what a goofy national debate would get. So that's a good thing. He if I understand correctly, he went and recorded that episode while the debate was going on. It'll air a little bit later on. So those are some good things there in Rand's corner. Now, I'm going to jump back on to Ted Cruz just a little bit. This came up in the debate a little bit, came up in some of the questions that Rand Paul got in the evening, and Glenn Beck also asked the question of Ted on his show and got a reply. And this issue is why did Ted Cruz skip the vote for the Audit the Fed bill that was introduced by Rand Paul? That bill fell short by 7 votes. So even if he did vote, that one vote wouldn't have mattered. That's fine, if that's the answer. I still disagree with it, and here's why. 1, you are a United States Senator. Furthermore, you are my United States Senator. I voted for you. I put you in that office. It is your first and foremost duty to fulfill the office of that Senate seat that you hold, which means you show up and you vote. Whether you think the vote's going to pass or not, whether you think your vote is going to matter or not, you do the will of the people. You get your little rear end in that seat and you vote yay or nay, depending on what it is, depending on what your constituents want you to vote. You do not miss things because you had previous engagements. You don't make previous engagements if they're going to conflict with you voting on the Senate floor. Do your job. Rant over. No, not rant over. Why is Trump gaining so much ground? It's because he's mad. He understands that the American people are mad. I disagree with him. I don't think he's truthful, but he's mad and he's tapping into that energy. Now, there's a movie that came out back in the 70s called Network. And it was a fairly decent movie from what I understand. I've seen parts of it. But there's a scene where he's broadcasting and he's telling everyone that's watching to lean out the window and scream at the top of their lungs, they're mad as you know what, and we're not going to take it anymore. That's why Trump is catching on, because people are hanging out the window yelling, we're mad as you know what, and we're not going to take it anymore. That's what is catching on. So, if you're mad, do some research, figure out who aligns with you, and stick up for him. Now, I'll be honest. I'm not voting for Ted Cruz. That guy he's done me wrong. So I'm not voting for Ted Cruz. Not voting for Trump. I don't trust Trump. Not voting for Rubio. Rubio is an established candidate. Not voting for those other 4 that belong on the B stage, and those folks that are on the B stage that belong on the C stage. I'm not voting for any of them either. Rand Paul is the only one that aligns with anything that I believe to be close to the Constitution and what the Constitution stands for. Take that for what you will. I'm sure a lot of you are going to disagree. That's fine. Write it in the comments. We'll talk about it later. Quickly, we had 10 U.S. Navy sailors on 2 separate boats Mysteriously, both of those boats had mechanical issues and stopped running and drifted into Iranian waters, in which they were captured by Iranians. They were held for a very short period of time, I believe 14 hours roughly, and then they were released, in which the release, Iran got some video of our 10 men on their knees, hands above their heads, blindfolded, this kind of stuff. The Iranians were holding guns to their heads, all this. So this is still kind of coming out. The White House is being very, very hush-hush with the intel that they're letting loose. It's been a couple of days since this actually happened. I might add that this was going on while the president was giving his State of the Union address and didn't even utter a peep about it. So it's just a curious event. What's going on there? So, just another case of where we've got all this secrecy of the most transparent administration known to record. Article here, Obama administration allegedly blocking release of details surrounding the 10 sailors detained by Iran. So I'll link it here for you. It goes on to say, wouldn't be surprised that this administration is trying to cover up something, considering that they have already been involved in so many scandals over the past 7 years, like I just said. Most transparent administration that we've ever had, right? If you've been following anything going on in Europe with the refugee situation and how the northern European states are being overrun, Germany, and Norway, Sweden, and how they're having such a horrible rape epidemic. Well, it's coming to an America near you. We've got the first one that we know of. Muslim rape arrives in North America. There's a gentleman, and I use the word loosely, gentleman here who's a refugee who was brought over, who's gone through the exact same vetting process that they all go through, and everything seems just fine. Just saying. The vetting process doesn't work. People can be as nice as they want to get what they want, and when they're in the situation that they want, then it happens. So, I'll link this one here. It's just another situation. Hold on your pants, man. It's getting ready. Getting ready. Wrapping up everything. Crazy State of the Union. Everything's not strong, despite what the president says. We've got clowns going on for the Republican debate. The one person who actually should be in the debate is not. We've got a Muslim rape and terrorism coming to the country. It's starting to infiltrate in. And just more signs the economy is a mess. Stock market dropping thousands of points, almost 2,000 points, more than 10%. It was at 18,300. Now it's down to 15,900. And that's just since January 1 in 16 days. Walmarts are closing across the place, across the country, across the world. Unemployment is crazy. Welfare is crazy. This is a very turbulent time for this country. So, like I said before, buckle up, hold on tight, get ready, because it's about to get a lot more rocky. As always, be vigilant, be safe, and be ready.